Hi everyone, Holly Pike here from thesvgblog.com. Welcome to my shed. This shed is going to be made into a woodworking shop, and I'll link that video to get started on that journey in with the comments on this video. Today, the project is a downdraft box. In the woodworking field, it's called a downdraft table, but since my space is somewhat limited, we're going to make a downdraft box. I'm going to use this plastic box and a kit. This is a kit called a dust stopper, and it has all the parts in it necessary to collect the dust. It's got a top with an opening. This is a Home Depot bucket. It fits on there perfectly. There's a hose and connectors, and this hose goes to a shop vac. So the sawdust goes down into the box, out into here, and exhausts through the shop vac to keep everything much cleaner. The purpose of this is for when I make projects for my new website, Things Holly Creates, I can sand these and all the dust and sawdust and dirt goes down into the box and not into my lungs or into my painting area that I will have in the same building. Now don't forget, you're going to want to use safety glasses. I'm going to use rubber gloves because I have a pretty manicure. I'm also going to put on something that won't damage my clothing should I get something on myself. We also will be using some silicone to seal the hoses. So that's the project. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the pegboard as a template to mark the holes on the top of this plastic box. So I'm just going to slide this over like that and match it up. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. It just has to be done. Perfect means it's never finished. Now I'm going to look here, and there's a little lip, so I'm going to mark this right about there. The next step is to cut the pegboard that we marked and measured on the top of the plastic box. So let's put this up on the work table. This is my work table. If you notice, you can see the actual table down here. This board on top is called a sacrificial board. That means we're going to sacrifice this board so we don't cut my table. I don't want to cut into the table when I make this cut. So now I'm going to look for my mark, which is here. I know that this is the section right here that I want for my downdraft box. So I'm going to line up my straight edge, but I want it to be a little smaller. So I'm going to put the line between these two holes. The reason I want it a little smaller is I want it to fit comfortably. I don't want it to be tight, and I want to make sure that I get it on the top of that box okay. So now we're going to go ahead and make this line. Maybe my marker will work. Okay, now we've got the line. Not real dark, but it is a line. And that's the line that we're going to cut on so that this fits the top of that box for the downdraft box. The next thing we have to do is we have to set our saw so that we don't cut through the table. We have our sacrificial board and the saw. I'm going to lift the saw up, and this lever goes up to release the saw. I'll move the guard out of the way, and now lower down this piece right here. Let me get my hand out of the way. And you can see that the saw, the teeth of the saw, of the blade, are resting right on this board, the sacrificial board. So it's going to cut through the pegboard, make a mark on the sacrificial board, but not cut through it. So that's how we make sure that we don't cut through our table or anything else. Okay, so I'm going to hold this. I can let the guard down, and this goes back into place and locks the saw. We've got our saw set to the right depth. We've got our line marked on the pegboard. Now we want to line the saw up with that line so that we get a nice straight cut. Push that guard down and lay this board, this level, right up next to it. Now I'm going to clamp it down, make sure that it's the same distance front to back. And I notice it's not quite. Okay. And what this is going to do, this level, the straight edge, is going to help me keep the guard of the saw right up against it so I get a nice straight cut, hopefully. Okay, we'll put our battery pack in. We're good to go, and here we go. going to set up the board as a template on top of the plastic box. I have my battery for my drill bit that fits into the hole with a little room to spare. That's going to be our template. We may leave that on for stability later, but for now it's a template. I have some machine screws and bolts. Once I do the first 3 holes, I'm going to put machine screws and bolts to hold this in place so that we can drill all the rest of the holes. So let's set up our drill nice and tight. I have this thing about safety and not putting batteries into tools until I'm ready to use them. So now the battery goes in and I'm ready to go. All set. Let's get our top. Put it up here. And again, I have gloves on to protect my manicure, so what's important, right? Okay. So now we're set. We have our little screws. Glasses go on. Safety first. First hole and get the first bolt in. Alright. Put the bolt right in because I don't want it to move. Okay. There's that. Do the next one. Try and keep my hands out of the way. So the bolt goes all the way through. Okay, since I only pulled out 3, I'll put 1 in the center. Okay, easy peasy, huh? Pretty easy. If I can do this, you can do this. Okay, now we have our board on top, and I'm going to proceed to drill the rest of my holes. Okay, 336 holes later, the top is done. Now, what we did find about halfway through was drilling a pilot hole with a drill bit that's smaller made the larger hole much easier and less stressful on the plastic, and we were able to do it without breaking the plastic. So now we're going to clean this up, remove the bolts and clean this up a little bit, and then move on to the next step. Now, let me say something about those of you that don't have power tools or think you can't do this because you don't have power tools. So that you know, that was my very first time cutting something with a saw. So if I can do this, guys, you can do this. Now everybody has a friend that has a saw and an electric drill. Everybody has a friend. So find a friend and get them to make a couple of cuts for you and drill some holes for you so that you can do this. It's possible to do. Home Depot will even cut this piece for you. As long as it's no less than a 12-inch cut, they'll cut it for you. So you can do this. All right, let's move on to the next step. Now we're going to clean this up. So I'm going to do it like this, jump it a little bit, get as much of this off and out as I can. I probably got some on me, that's okay. Now, being careful of my screws here, I'm going to use my sander, and again, it's battery operated Ryobi. Turn the sander on, I'm going to clean off all these rough edges. It probably doesn't hurt anything, and aesthetically it looks kind of strange, but if I have to take this apart for any reason and do any cleaning, I don't want to get caught on these rough little edges. So just because I'm that way, I'm just going to clean this up. Okay, much better, much better. I'm not going to catch my hand. There's a couple little pieces. I'm not going to catch my hand on this and hurt myself now that that's all done. This is the flange we're going to use to attach to the box so that we can attach our hose that goes to the shop vac. We bought this flange in the plumbing department at Home Depot. I'll put all the information about exactly what it is if you want to get the exact one in the comments. So now I'm just going to loosen this so that these screws come out. And they're getting loose. It just turns. Set that down so I don't lose it. I'm going to set this right down on top of the box. I'm going to mark where our screw holes are going to go. Now you might think that you're going to mark the big area, but you're not. You're going to mark the center of this smaller area because that's where the screw needs to go. Just putting a dot there, right in the center, best I can. Again, done is better than perfect. So there's our marks for the holes. Now we're going to drill pilot holes for the screws. So we've already got that set up, I think. My elbow. Two. Guys, if I can do this, y'all can do this. Okay. Now we've got our pilot holes. Okay, now we're going to drill the big holes. Let's find the right size drill bit for this bolt. I'm going to take the bolt out. And now I'm going to take a drill bit and I'll hold it up against the bottom. And I can see that that just fits the bottom of the bolt, but it does not fit the threads. So this will be too small. This next one, this is a little bit bigger. It's just a tiny bit bigger than the threads, so that should work. Now what happens if you only have a bigger one, like this? It's okay to have a bigger drill bit as long as it doesn't allow that top nut to come through the hole. Okay? I'm going to use the middle one, because that's the one that seems to fit best for me. Let me put this bolt back in here so I don't lose it. Okay. Crank it down. Make sure you're going the right way for drilling. Put my glasses on. Drill some holes. We're going right into the pilot hole. So much easier with the pilot hole. Okay. We need to find the center of where these bolts and screws are going to go, because we need to find the center for the hole. So I'm going to use a straight edge, and I'm going to measure from the center of this hole to the center of that hole, and just draw a line. And then I'll do the same. I'll do it on this side so y'all can see. Same here. Get as close as you can. Remember, done is better than perfect. And do that. Now we know that the center is right here. Okay? That's it. Okay, next is the pilot hole. Okay? So we have to drill a pilot hole again, like we did the last time. We drilled a pilot hole for these. We need to drill a pilot hole for the hole saw. Okay. There you go. Easy peasy. Now we need the hole saw. The whole bit, I guess, is a bit. Okay. Looking good. Okay. Now the center of this is going to go into that little hole there. Pilot. So it sits nice and firm. Hold on to your box, and here we go. Viola. Okay. Now, And again, I have rubber gloves on to protect my pretty manicure. Because, you know, it's a girl thing. Now I'm going to put this into the brass holes. And find the next one. Also put in this one. I'm looking for. Okay. Now we've got them in, and let's tighten them up. Next is to attach the elbow joints with silicone. And I'm going to also use Gorilla Tape so that I can move forward and not wait for the silicone. So this is the elbow, the 90-degree elbow, and it's going to go in like this because I want the hose to come out this side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my silicone, take the cap off, and cut this on an angle, which worked great. And I'm going to run a bead of silicone around the inside. There's an inside ledge in here. So I'm going to run this in there. I've never done this before, so small end in. Just hold it there for a second. Okay. Now let's fill this up. This is messy, it's glue, so wear gloves. Making a little bit of a mess, but that's all right. Take my Gorilla Tape. You can get Gorilla Tape at Home Depot. And I'm going to tape this as best I can. Okay, that's not going anywhere, guys. That's in there. All right, down from my step stool. Because I'm little, I'm 5'5", in case you didn't know that. So I have height challenge. Okay. Got this. Looks good inside. All right. Okay, so now we have this top that we purchased, and this fits on the Home Depot. What is it? A 10-gallon top? And you're gonna need to push it down hard. And I'm like putting all my weight on it to get it down. Okay, that's good. This is going to go in here. Get it in there real good. And that's going to go in there. Looking good. We have another 90-degree that's going to go on the top. Here. Again, I'm putting my weight on this, so it'll take it. and we're good. Okay, now we're going to put the top on. Okay, we're done. Here is the Downdraft box. I'm going to turn on the shop vac, and I'm going to do a little sanding. Now, if luck is with us and we did everything right, the sand and sawdust should be sucked down into this box. Okay? It's going to be loud, so bear with me. Always wear your protective glasses. Okay, as I was sanding, I could see over when I got near the holes, I could feel the air sucking the sawdust down into the box. So it works, and there's no sawdust in the air here at all, just a little bit left over from the sanding on my board. So I would say this project is a success, and we'll put all the information that you need, the parts and pieces and everything that we used, down below in the description. And if you like this video, hit subscribe, hit the bell so that you get all of the next videos that come along. I'm Holly Pike again from the svgblog.com. Please come to my website. It's free. Sign up and enjoy the forum, the galleries, and all of the blog posts. Thanks for joining me.